Namaste. Welcome to the evening yoga. So it's a beautiful sunset right now, and there is no reason for us not to explore the poses that you can do in the evening to loosen all those stiff joints, get them ready for the restful sleep. So I'm sitting in the bow pose, one of my knees on top of the other knee. My feet are pointing sideways, and I'm going to take a breath here. Fully exhale. And in order to deepen the stretch, I'm going to bend down, gently nod, try to touch my forehead on my top knee. You can grab your knees, or if you want to add the shoulders here, you can extend your arms and just let them rest on the floor or on the ground. And as you rest here, just watch the stretching sensations in your top hip. I'm going to try and stay here in the bow pose for at least 10 breaths. You can stay longer if you'd like. Yeah, 10 breaths gives you around 1 minute in a pose, as long as you're breathing relatively slow. You can extend that to 12 if you feel like your breath has not slowed down yet. Feel your shoulders relaxing here. Feel your top hip elongating. And I'm going to get up, take a breath. And from here, I'm going to start moving my top knee and put it on the ground. My other knee, I'm also going to put on the ground, but I'm going to make sure that my inner part of the hip touches the ground here. And from here, I'm going to turn my torso towards that knee that is currently touching the ground with its outer part. Support myself with my hands. Assume the deer pose. And have some breaths here. Again, aiming for 10. Don't worry if your back is not straight here. It's not the back, it's actually your back hip. Feel it opening as you twist your torso. Relax. Breathe. There is nothing to do here except stay in that pose. And I'm going to go back to the front. Going back to the front. We're going to do the bow on the other side. Arrange my legs so that my knees coincide and my toes are pointing. I'm going to sink back down and just stay there. This time around, I'm not extending my arms. I'm just hugging my knees, which makes it for a more restful pose. You can consciously relax your shoulders here. Again, there is nothing to do. You just pay attention to what your top hip is doing. It's elongating, and that's what this pose aims at. And from the bow, I'm going to move to the deer on the other side. One of my hips touches the mat with its outer part. Another one touches the mat with the inner part. Torso turns towards the hip that touches the mat with its outer part. Support yourself with your hands. Look straight ahead and just relax, feeling your back hip opening there. If you have a firm enough couch at home, you can do both of those poses on the couch as you watch TV or just relax. Couple more breaths here, and I'm gonna start turning my torso toward the center. However, I'm gonna keep my front leg bent. I'm gonna start straightening my back leg in order to come to the pigeon pose. Resting on my palms, on my front knee, making my back leg as straight as possible. The pigeon pose is a very comforting pose. And once you're all settled in here, what you can do, you can stop holding the pose. Consciously relax your hips and see the magic happen. What's going to happen, your body is going to slowly start rolling onto your bent hip. Do not interfere with this process. Let it take as long or as little as possible. Whatever your body wants to do until you are plopped on your bent hip. And from here, down on your forearms. Put your face as close to your knee as you can to give yourself a measure of comfort as your nervous system associates the proximity of your face to your knee with comfort and safety. And just rest here. You can do that on the bed if you'd like. Just relax. Keep breathing and try to stay here for at least 10 breaths. Now, if you do want to add a shoulder workout to this, you can lift your torso slightly and turn it up away from your bent knee. Here you have an option. You can either make your arm point up and look at your fingers as they float in the air, or otherwise, you can just slide your arm to the back of your body, rest your outer palm on your lower back, and just stay here, adding the torso twist to this comforting pose. I'm going to stay here for another couple of breaths. See, I'm working both my bottom hip and my top shoulder. And in a moment, we're going to switch sides. And And start with the pigeon on the other side. Rest on your front knee. Make sure that your back leg is straight. And then once you're comfortable in the pose, just stop holding it. And what this does, it lets your bent hip move and roll very gently through the range of motion available to it without any strain, just the gravity. And see, I'm there, I've plopped on my bent hip. And from here, I'm gonna rest on my forearms again for some breaths. And if I do want to add a shoulder workout to this, I'm gonna start lifting the side of my body that's on the side of my straight leg. And either turn my torso, look up at my arm extended up, watching my fingers there for a second. Or I can slide my whole arm in my back, rest my outer palm on my lower back, and just make it a much gentler stretch with a twist. I'm gonna stay here for another several breaths. And come back into the pigeon. And coming back into the pigeon, I'm going to dig with the toes of my back leg into the mat. And then from here, I'm going to come to my hands and knees. And what I also want to do before I go to bed is, of course, the thread the needle pose. I'm going to lift one of my arms and one of my hands, slide it under the other one, palm up, and get as close to the mat as possible. It's actually easier if you can rest your head on the mat. You don't need to worry about keeping that supporting arm straight. Once you're down here, you can actually make it straight because you have support of your hand, but you absolutely don't have to. We're going to spend 10 breaths here. We're going to come up. Again, check our position for stability and do it on the other side. Thread the needle by turning your hand palm up and getting down. Both of the things are equally delicious. And I've done my 10 breaths. I'm gonna come up and come back to Sukhasana. And coming back to Sukhasana, I'm gonna continue working both on my hips and my shoulders. I'm gonna do the eagle arms first. Hold your fingers or hold your wrists or keep your fingers straight, whatever you need to do. I'm going to stay here for 10 breaths as well. Watch your shoulders as they hold your arms like this. Keep breathing. You can change your arms midway. And don't worry if doing it the other way is more challenging for you. We all have a natural position for the eagle arms and the unnatural position. So the first one you would do would be the one that your body favors. You would probably notice the difference in the mobility of your shoulders and forearms. Just notice, don't judge. Keep breathing until you're ready to let go. We're going to take another breath here. And we're going to come to the butterfly by putting the soles of our feet together. For the butterfly, you do want to get settled in it properly. You don't want to rush here. You do want to give your hips a moment or two to open. Feel free to shift and shuffle on your mat, finding a good position for your buttocks. And then once you feel that you're settled and your knees start lowering, what we're going to do, we're going to bend our elbows and sink down low. Again, here you don't want to go too low too soon. You do want the gravity to take you deeper into the bend. You can assist it by relaxing your shoulders, resting your elbows on your lower legs, and then just enjoy feeling your hips open. Breathe. Feel your knees sinking lower and lower towards the mat. Yeah, butterfly bend is one of those universal poses that works almost your entire body. So you do want to incorporate that into as many sessions as you can. And spend as much time as you want there. I'm going to take several more breaths here. And slowly come up. You don't want to come up too fast from the butterfly because you were head down for a while. You want to give your head a chance to remember that it's actually upwards. And I'm going to go back to Sukhasana. And from Sukhasana, I'm going to keep working my shoulders by interlacing my fingers behind my back. My palms are going to face toward me. And I'm going to start bending forward again, simultaneously raising my arms. Don't raise them too far up. If you have trouble keeping your fingers interlaced, you can grab your wrists. Just pay attention to your shoulder blades as they get closer to one another. Opening your shoulders, opening your chest. And your fingers are going to start sliding if they're interlaced. It's actually a very soothing feeling. And as they slide against one another, just start slowly coming up. If that were a yin yoga practice, you'd probably want to hold this for longer, but as this restorative shoulder opener that you do before bed, you don't want a lot of effort with this. So I'm gonna put my wrists onto my knees and turn my palms up so that my wrists rest on my knees. I'm gonna inhale very deeply. And on the exhale, I'm gonna relax my palms so that my wrists start pointing more downwards. Another inhale. And on the exhale, I'm gonna relax my palms even further. And yet another inhale. And just let your palms hang from your wrists. You can close your eyes here. Pay attention to the tingling sensation in your fingers. It's probably there. Now trace the sensation to your palms and keep your mind's eye on your forearms. Notice any sensations in those. Your elbows, your shoulders, your clavicles, your neck, your face. Try to very slowly nod, relaxing your neck. And inhaling, slowly lift your head so that you can look to the sky. And keep nodding on the exhales. And lifting your head up on the inhales. Or however long feels comfortable. I'm going to do 3 more. Now in the evening, you don't want any rotational movement with your neck, lest you get dizzy. And you don't want dizzy, you want calm. And I'm going to stop nodding. Take a full breath in. And thank you for doing the practice with me. I hope you feel more relaxed and more ready to get a restful night's sleep. Namaste.